Okay, welcome everybody. We're going to do a bit of a Super Saturday training. We do have a more official Super Saturday coming up that we're going to talk about a little later on during this call, coming up in January. But we knew that we were growing so quickly. I think we're close to 1,800 people now, which is phenomenal for just a little over 2 months. But we wanted to make sure everybody at least knew the basics. I thought that was super important because we don't want anybody left behind. We don't want anybody making any catastrophic mistakes or having any kinds of problems. We do have our good boy Ozzy on here, the CMO of the company. Also, incidentally, happens to be our upline. He is just en route coming home, so he'll be gracing us towards the end of this call, filling in any things that we left out. And he also has, he just sent me a text. What if he really has what he says he has? Then I promise you, there's not some kind of scarcity or hype. You want to stick around to the end. We're going to try to keep this to about an hour and a half. I know it's a little bit, but we're trying to give you some good info. And we're going to do everything from comp plan training. We're going to talk about some onboarding. We're going to talk about a few tricks and tips and shortcuts that will help you. We're going to do a little bit of testimonials. There's some great people out there making some phenomenal things happen. We have our good friend and business partner, Sean Kim, on here, who's responsible for programming the marketing site, which will be a full-blown marketing system by the time him and his team are done with that. And best of all, it is going to be free of charge for everybody on the team. So that's awesome. And also, he's going to teach us a little bit about the tokens, the wallets, how to swap in, swap out, and do some of that stuff. Now, I recognize that everyone's at a different level of understanding, so different people pick up different things over time, and it's probably something you're going to need to see a few times, but no time like the present to at least get your toe in the water, and we'll do a more in-depth training on wallets and swapping and turning it into cash, or teaching you why you should hang on to it as long as possible in the upcoming but very near future. So without any further ado, and Scott, just let me know when that other document is ready. That'd be great. You can send it to me on WhatsApp, and I'll figure out a way to send it to the team. Maybe also you can send it to Telegram, so all the people that are watching right now will also have access to it. Let me just close this down really fast. 3 to 5 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. I was gonna do, let me just dive right in. Never mind the woulda, coulda, shouldas here. A good plan today is better than a great plan tomorrow. You guys can see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So just a quick run through. I know a lot of you already know this, but there's people that are very new that don't. So that's very, very important. If you look over here, Managed Network is the place that I hang out the most, right? So you want to go there to do almost 80% of everything you'll ever do. One of my favorites is, and it's different for everybody, you can send your links out, right, by going down here to promotional tools, right? If you want to get a link to sign people up and get your referral link. I prefer this one because this one puts people, all it is gives them a sign up sheet. The one over here that says copy your link, let me see if I can make this fancy little highlight deal. This one over here is what most of you use. This brings them to your website and people have to figure out where to go to actually sign up. And maybe some people want to see all that stuff, but usually by the time I'm sending out my link, it's the people that are ready to sign up. So I send them the one that you get over here under referral links. So just a quick FYI, this is the one that says holding tank and all that stuff, and it's a little bit of a longer URL. It's entirely up to you, but that's my preference. Another little cheat that I like to use sometimes is back under Managed Network is add new member. Okay, so when you're signing people up, especially if you're side by side with somebody, you can just put their information in right here, their name, username. One of my little things, it's not mandatory, but I suggest you use all lowercase because usernames are case sensitive. So if your username was, let's say cash, right? You want to write it like that instead of like this, that's an entirely different person, right? So if someone went to ixacademy.us/cash and went here versus, you know, well, y'all know it, lowercase and there, they'll get an error message on there. So I know we like to make fancy usernames and stuff. A username is just a username. I'm all about picking good usernames typically, but you don't want to make one too fancy that, you know, people are going to make spelling mistakes on and stuff like that, or that when you go to sign up on your phone versus your computer, you forget that it's actually what letters are capitalized and stuff like that. So again, do what you like, not mandatory, but just a little something to, if it just doesn't work that one time you're trying to sign somebody up, or if someone has the capital C and the word cash as their username, they're going to sign up on that person's site. One thing about the company, it seems unfair, but it's actually super fair, is they don't make any corrections. They don't make any changes. Part of it is the way the software is set up. Part of it is to be compliant. A lot of people, they sign up today with you, and then 3 days later, they find out their brother-in-law is in the business and like, oh, I want to work with my brother-in-law. Well, he should have told you before. So then they say, oh, can you just, I made a mistake. I want to sign up over here. And sometimes people play games. Or sometimes you're in the business working. And some companies will see a superstar come around and put them above you and move you down, which doesn't ultimately hurt you, but it just doesn't feel good, right? So this company does not do that. I know because I asked, to be honest with you. I asked for volume. I asked for a team. I asked to be inserted, it's called. And they just said, no, they couldn't do it. And finally, the joke is, I said, I absolutely demand that you send me a link. And I just signed up and I just went to work. And the rest is kind of what it is. So again, really quickly, use this form if you like. The good thing is about it, definitely make sure though that you got their email address correct. That is kind of one of the differentiating factors. You don't want to make a mistake on that. Email and username are the two hardest things in this company to change. As a matter of fact, it's like 98% impossible. So you want to be cognizant of that and make sure you use the right names and stuff when you're doing what you're doing. Placement structure is another place that we typically like to hang out. There is something called a holding tank, so let's stay on track for that. So if you sign someone up and then they join, right, and they don't go in the holding tank until they make a purchase, that's another problem that a lot of people don't understand. People sign up and they don't realize they can't find the person after. Holding tank is just supposed to give you, and I was going to, just when Olivia was talking, I was going to try to sign someone up quickly to put them in the holding tank, but I didn't want to delay any longer, unfortunately. And when they come in here though, you'll see them, and they're in here, I think, for up to 7 days, which is good for you because the thought process is you want to think of the right place to put them in, or sometimes you might tell someone else, if you sign up today, I got Bill Smith in my holding tank, I'll put him under you, and this kind of stuff, which is a great strategy. The problem with it is when somebody's in the holding tank, they can't make any more purchases and they can't sign anybody up. So they're kind of handcuffed a little bit. So this company, unlike some that I've seen, you typically don't want people to be in the holding tank for too long, right? It's kind of detrimental to their business. When they are here, what you're going to do is click over here on the right. Just imagine you saw the name of Bill Smith. And over here on the right, there's going to be something called placement. And placement is where do you want to put them on the team? And basically, you're going to put them under somebody, and you're going to put them on the left of that person or the right of that person. Let me very quickly show you what that might look like over here. Let's go to. So you could just pick a name somewhere, and let's say you pick Messiah right here, right? And then you get that username, you click on it, and then when you see this username, right, that's what you're going to add to the placement. And with the placement, you're going to pick, do you want the person on the left of Messiah or the right of Messiah? So we'll just go right here. You can see this person does have somebody. Now, typically the rule of thumb is you want to ask your upline, right? Where should you put people? Ultimately, it's your choice. It's your business, but you do want to make an educated strategy of some sort. Now, for this situation, you look right here, you see Black Star, you see Fat Cat, you see Messiah, you see Irwin, right? So what's happening here is this team is building predominantly on the left side, right? This is called the common leg. Sometimes you call it the power leg. So if I'm placing somebody under Irwin, let's say, I'm going to put him on the left of Irwin. Or like, just like you see Messiah right here, I typically wouldn't put somebody on the right because this is Messiah's responsibility ultimately. There are some nuances and there are times where you do it, but 90% of the time, you want to build in a nice look. This person has nobody on their side. This person has nobody on their side. We're building this strategy here on the left, 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 left. And when we do the comp plan training in a little while, Hugh Paul's going to show you a very intricate strategy as to why we can maximize this. So stay tuned for that, and it'll make more sense. And again, by the way, if you don't grasp everything that I or the other trainers are sharing today, don't feel overwhelmed, right? This is a lot to learn. It's a business. It's brand new to you. We're using a lot of terminology, power leg, binary, all these things that you maybe not have heard before. But understand, the computer knows what it's doing. Most of your upline leaders at least know what they're doing. Sometimes you sign up under somebody who just signed up an hour or 2 days before you. So it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. So it's something really intricate. Go further up the line to get the answers. We do have a Telegram group that will be shared in the chat of this training. We do have a Facebook group that we're going to be definitely putting a lot more effort into archiving things and structuring it, so it can be a tremendous resource for you guys. But we like to do things intentionally for a reason. So we'll teach you guys all of that here real soon. Now, I did notice something that I want to show you guys since we're on the topic. Right here, this is the sales for the week. A lot of people don't know this, so I'm just jumping into this while we're on this page. This shows you, so the week started on Friday morning at midnight, right? Late Thursday night, early Friday morning, Utah time, which is Mountain Standard Time. So this person's had 900 points come in for the week. You click on this, you can see there's no points on the right, but look at this, tremendous points on his left, almost 500,000 points. This is why you want to stay active, right? And this person is active. If not, you would have seen a big red packages expired here. And that'll happen, I believe, as soon as they go into the grace period. So they have 7 days before what's called the worst words in the industry, the points flush. So if this person, Messiah, did not within the 28 days, right? Because we're a week-to-week company, or within the 7 days grace period that you get after that. And by the way, that grace period, you see how it says 9:13 p.m.? So exactly 28 days after September 9th at 9:13 p.m., well, technically the grace period would start, but 7 days into the grace period, all the points, all the volume and value is going to disappear at this time. So don't think if it says you have one more day, you might have like 1.5 hours of that day, right? So you just can't look at the date. You have to be cognizant of the time. The company cannot fix this, right? So please, 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 what's the value of carry forward? So this is volume from all the weeks before, and less sales, that's the volume from this week. This here is worth anywhere from 10 to 20%. Again, when Hugh Paul does the binary training, the comp plan training, just keep in your mind and look and match the pieces of the puzzle as to what that means. But so right now, this is worth anywhere from almost $50,000, is that right? To $100,000, right? So, and all this person has to do is have 80 points every 28 days. And they're not getting paid on it yet, but you carry it forward until you figure out the business, until your team starts to grow. And even if you're passive, you might want to hang on to this in case over time, you start to change your mind to build. And we have a lot of people that are doing that. By the way, I want to mention that 75% of our team is passive, meaning all they want to do is buy and rent nodes and let those tokens accumulate over time. Some people are cashing some in. Most people are hanging on to them because they understand the value. Some people are selling some just to take the money to buy even more, right? Everyone has a different strategy, but that's what I call passive. The opposite of passive would be like what you guys are doing here. You get on Zooms, you get on trainings, you call some friends, you send some emails, you talk about the business, and you get rewarded for that. That's why there's a compensation plan. The thing that I love, as you can see, Messiah is an example of that. They're passive right now. They have a lot of nodes and they're minding their business, but with this kind of money sitting there, when they have that light bulb moment, or when they maybe make $10,000 off of their nodes and tell one of their friends, and now one of their friends, how do I get some? Oh, I don't really know. You need to talk to some people in my Telegram group, right? And then all of a sudden, as you're seeing, they start to get some people coming in on their team. So very, very exciting stuff right there. It's kind of the bread and butter of how this works. Let me pull up a document that, yeah, nice. And hopefully this opens right here. Yeah, and it's frozen, of course. Save as maybe. Okay, I'm going to come back to that in a quick second. Not sure why it's not opening up. If Scott, if you could also throw that in the Telegram group so some people could also get access to it, and maybe also forward it to Ozzy, that would be great in case he wants to show it when he comes up. But we'll leave that alone for now. Anyhow, moving right along, what else can I show you guys here? Oh, the most important thing. For those of you guys that are building really, well, I won't say aggressively, but anyways, so rank analysis, let's go there for now. Rank analysis is where you see how you're doing. And this shows your last 4 weeks in the business or whatever. That might be more than that. I have to learn how to read that one myself a little bit better. Everyone knows about the 3 green circles. You want to get to that apprentice bonus. Again, Hugh Paul will touch on this, but you need to get your 3 circles, right? Because you want to get to apprentice, which is the $100 bonus. And usually the people that you signed up, you're making between $10 to $15 per person. So by hitting apprentice, you're going to be making about $145 a month, which means that you technically have no auto ship, for lack of a better word, or expense. Now, when you're in the rank analyzer, it shows you your current ranks. You can see I'm at global ambassador. Next one is crown ambassador. So it tells you what you need to do. Now, don't mind this 75%. It's not very effective in terms, there's only 4 checklists. Do you have a subscription? Yes. Do you have 2 on your left? Yes. Do you have 2 on your right? Yes. And do you have 1 million points? Well, not just yet, right? But then it just shows, I like to look at this yellow box right here. It shows where you're standing for the week. And that's at 500,000. So we're requalified. And then when you go through the legs, you can see, oh no, we're fully qualified on everything. Sometimes you'll have a higher number right here than your yellow box. And that just means you have 1 of your or 2 of your legs that has more than the maximum allocation that's available. For instance, let's say you signed me up and I did $500,000 in 1 leg. Well, the company's not going to make both of us a global ambassador, right? You can get paid on my volume, right, through the binary and other things, but towards your rank, they're only going to count a certain minimum because there are, let me see if I can pull this up. Someone let me know if the comp plan's showing. I brought a doc up on top of a doc. Just want to make sure you guys can see it. Are you seeing the comp plan sheet?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, cool. So let's say that I was on your team and I'm the first person you signed up. Congratulations. And I did 500,000 under you. But you see right here, there's a leg maximum, right? And until you get a couple other people that do a little bit of volume, you can only count this max leg volume right here. You guys could all have access to this. One little thing I usually do, just take a screenshot of this page with your camera right now. And it's just something that you can look at and have for fast reference on your phone at any given time. The reason they have to do this is if they didn't have this maximum, I have 5 kids. I would have signed up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then I would have signed up myself under my 5th child, and we'd all be global ambassadors, and we'd all be making $2,000 a week, and the company would be out of business in 24 days. So they do let you benefit from having a really big person on your team. And especially what I like about it, the higher up you go, the easier it gets, right? So meaning if you had me on your team and I did 500,000, you can count 250,000 of that. All they're saying is everybody else combined outside of me needs to also do, you know, whatever they do, they pay you at that. So you don't have to get quite that high, but there's different ranks all the way through. Anyhow, Hugh Paul will be doing a great comp plan job, but I wanted to give you guys this since we're kind of on the topic a little bit, and you'll be seeing it for the second time. So again, rank analysis, you come down here and you want to look at this yellow box, which doesn't typically include your own personal sales. So you really want to look over here with the qualified rank business volume. All right. So we can get more into that another time. I don't want to be too deep. Another thing that you want to do is team analyzer. For those of you that are building a team, you want to come over here and type in and see what they are doing. So let me just think of a name of somebody. Okay, let's just look at this right here really fast. So we just go here, you click on this. Now you can see, now you're looking at their back office as if you were them. All right, they've done a great job. They've got their 3 green circles, so they're apprentice. By the way, the apprentice bonus, the $100 pays every 28 days. Once you hit executive producer, it falls off because executive producers are making considerable monies already, and we want to save those monies for the people that, you know, are just kind of coming out the block. So this person here is a producer, so they're definitely getting that $100 bonus as well. And let's take a look at the situation. All right, so they have a subscription, so they got that check mark. They have 2 on the left. They're missing their 2 on the right, and so they're going to clear that up, I'm sure. And then the 10,080 is what they're going to focus on, getting that volume before Thursday at midnight. So again, we go to our handy dandy yellow box over here, and you can see that they have almost 9,000 points towards their 10,800. You could also look here. This is what I was talking about. They have almost 16,000 points in total. So all this means is they have that a little bit lopsided, like where I talked about if you signed up someone like myself who did the 500,000, which was more than you had outside of that, the company's only counting a certain percentage. As you get to higher ranks, it will do, it'll count more of the volume. Hopefully that makes some sense. Yeah, so is there any questions on that really quick before I go away? Let me just make sure. You know, I'm being clear to myself, but maybe I wasn't clear in my explanation.
Yeah, Kevin, I've got a question.
Go for it.
Okay, what happens to somebody who's in the holding tank for more than 7 days without being placed by their sponsor?
Great question. So after 7 days, I think it's 7. Ozzy, you can put in the chat if it's 7 or 5, or if it's the first Thursday that comes through. The computer will automatically move them out at that time and place them randomly. I believe it just defaults to the bottom left, which might not be where you want them. So if you know you sent out some links, it doesn't hurt anything to once a day or once every other day, just click on holding tank and see if you have anybody in there. Because if you do, it means the world to them, and they'll feel stuck if they don't know why they can't buy anything or rent anything, or why their sign up link won't even work while they're in there. Because you can't have someone in the holding tank of someone who's in the holding tank, right? So good question. I'm also right here, actually, let me just show you. So you look at this at a glance, but you can click on here to see the allocation and the breakdown of the various legs. So you can see right here, this person has 5,000 points, but the capped volume is 3,780. Let me show you something really cool that happens though. If we go back, because sometimes you want to look at this, right? If we go back and we click on right here, let's click on a higher level. This is going to be interesting. Now remember that person had 8,900 points in their yellow box. Look what happened. It went to 15,000. So what this is telling me is once they hit the requirements of the lower one, they're going to jump up another 6, 7, 8,000 points because they have it. And towards this higher rank, right, this person now going for the 25K, going for influencer, they can use up a higher allocation of the points. So this is a way for you to, sorry, for those that are building a team, to see how your downline, so to speak, is actually set up. And, you know, they might give you an answer and say, you know, I don't got anything going on, or all my points are in one leg. This allows you to audit without having their password and stuff and see where they are and see who specifically, right, needs to bring in more volume for that person to rank up. I don't know if you caught that nuance, but back to that example where if you signed me up and I had 500,000, if I go to 600,000, that doesn't help you anymore. You're already cut off on my volume. You're already capped. So that would mean you need to focus on other people. I mean, you still want to help someone who's capped, of course, but that's not going to help you towards your next rank is all I'm saying on that part. So I will leave that part alone right now, unless there's any further questions. Good one right there, Andy, by the way. I think it was Andy. And good. Right here, you can see that we're growing. So congratulations. This is from all of you. 17. Oh, this is really cool. So you guys just saw that we had like 510,000 volume, right? This is very fundamental. So 500,000 points and divided by 1750. That means the team is doing an average of 291 BV per person. That's a really good number for you guys to understand. Now, I mean, my team's a little bit bigger than most on the team, so it gives more chance for what we call whales or people that are doing a little bit more. I mean, if you had 3 people, who knows if they'd all do this many points, right? But it's when we talk about the comp plan, when Hugh Paul dives into this later, remember this number, 290. That's a real live number. And we're Saturday. Don't forget, most of my points had dropped off on Friday morning. So this is the 500,000 you're seeing is for 3 weeks, right? So as we build up for the week, you know, we're not going to have that many more people come in. Hopefully we do, because I think the last time I looked at this was like about 360 something by the end of, you know, on a Thursday, 360 something points. But the reason I brought that up, and hopefully I'm not losing you guys, is when we talk over here, right? Hugh Paul does a masterful job of this. But let's say builder, for instance, right? 1,040 points to be a builder. I just showed you that right now, at least on my team, which is your teams, right? We're averaging 300 points per person. So whereas this, by the way, this is just for visual purposes, right? For people that don't understand BVs and all that stuff. This is how many people at 80 points or 90 points you would need, but it's not mandatory. It's just giving you a visual guide. For instance, look, I'm global ambassador. They say to be a global ambassador, you need 5,500 people. You saw that I hit the rank with just 1,700 people. So again, and that's because our people, and because of the nodes especially, right? The program is so desirable, so effective, and so in demand that people are doing more than the minimum. I've never seen that in networking where people buy more than they need. If you're in a vitamin company and you're supposed to take a bottle of vitamins a month, people are like, give me 10 bottles, right? Or whatever. So again, not to belabor the point too much, I have to get off here and pass it to some other people, but just use this in mind. Keep that number in your head, the real live number that you saw. 291 points is the average per customer in our team. That would mean, let's just conservatively say 4 people. If you signed up 4 people, you could be at the builder rank. All right, so you guys can resort back to that a little bit later in the call. Anything else on here to look at? Not really. All right, so I'm going to jump off here. I might come back on in a little while. I'm going to try to get that cheat sheet. We do have someone that's going to come up, a good friend of ours I want to introduce. Sean, are you ready? Can I defer to you here in a second?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, guys, so that was kind of that. I did want to do a little bit more of an actual sign up, an actual movement of people in the holding tanks and not, but time was just not our friend. So what we're going to do right now is pivot towards the wallet usage, right? Especially there's been a lot of changes there. They've added something called 2FA, two-factor authentication, just meaning if someone had your password, they'd also need your cell phone, right, to approve you know, them moving things around or taking things out, because a few people have been compromised for whatever reasons, however that's happened. So the company is just in the last 48 hours kind of protecting us from ourselves and made this 2FA kind of mandatory. One thing that I want to stress is you want to take security very, very seriously. You want to write down your passwords in written form in a notebook, preferably in 2 places. And also your 2FA. Some people lock themselves out with 2FA. So you definitely want to make sure you figure out how that works before you implement it and lock yourself out. You want to save your 2FA passwords and barcodes or QR codes and that kind of stuff too. Guys, once you do this, not to scare you, but it is important that you take it seriously, the company probably won't be able to rescue you from yourself. So we have to put on our big boy and big girl pants here. And this is money, right? You can hear from some people that are making, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars a week with their tokens. And hopefully over time, we're all making tens of thousands of dollars as these tokens appreciate. So without any further ado, this is a good friend of mine. We've been working together on and off in various projects for 10 years. He has a phenomenal skill set, which is an online presence, but he's growing in all aspects of the business. He has a great head for business. He's also responsible for putting together the team that has made the marketing system that's going to be way more robust coming up. And that's always a work in progress. But for now, Sean's going to teach you guys about the tokens, a very surface level for now. We don't want to go too deep and glaze over some of the people that are a little bit more behind in terms of crypto, but we definitely want to get you guys some of the basics. And maybe in a week or two, we'll do an all-out half-hour dedicated crypto training. Maybe we'll even bring on somebody from corporate to make sure we hammer everything home, record that, and save it as a resource for you guys.